Hey, hello out there. How is everybody doing tonight? Hey, Mon, good to see you. Mon says happy Mother's Day, and may you have two-legged babies or four-legged fur babies. Oh, I love I am a mom of both of those, a two-legged human baby and a four-legged well, the dog is almost 8, so I think in dog years, he's actually older than me, if you work it out that way. It's I am the Noise Opera, Nick. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. We're just being silly, we're just hanging out tonight. It's Saturday, and I'm at home, little guy's asleep, husband's asleep, dog is asleep, and I'm not, so I like to hang out with you guys. Hey, Mary from Blessed to Crochet is here, yay! Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to all the people who have mothers and, um happy Sunday to all the people who have difficult relationships with their mothers, and condolences to people who have lost them or have difficult relationships with mothers, or any combination thereof, you know? Sometimes it can be all of those things. Like, maybe you have one mother who you have a great relationship with, maybe you have another mother you don't have such a great relationship with, and, you know, like, it can be a combination of those things. It can be really, really complicated. So, I titled this Silly Saturday because I'm just in a silly mood, and y'all don't have to be silly, but I am silly. So, that's the energy I'm bringing tonight is silly energy. Um, Sound warning, this is gonna make a loud sound when I open this. This is my caffeinated cherry cola sparkling water. It has 0 calories, but 35 milligrams of caffeine per can. So, probably shouldn't be drinking it at night, but it's so tasty. Aw, thank you, Mon. Mon says happy Mother's Day as well. Yay. So I don't remember what historically Friday night, like Saturday night streams have been like. Like, I don't remember if like less people come hang out or more people come hang out. Like, I guess if you've got I don't know, if you've got people that come hang out that like to go do things on Saturday night, then probably less people come out. Although it's daytime for our Aussie friends, like, it's daytime for Monica. So, I mean, it's not going out and doing things at night, it's more like having lunch or something. Just so you know, if Mary is your big sister, I'm the oldest sister out of you 2. Okay, if you, very well. So you are my older big sister. So I have 2 sisters now, and you're the oldest, is that how it works? This is so cool. I always wanted sisters. I've always had brothers. That's pretty awesome. This makes me very happy. I know y'all are always looking out for me. I really appreciate it. Y'all are great friends. Hey, Janet G, good to see you. Spending Mother's Day with my 94-year-old mom. Traveled across the country for this. Wow. Feeling grateful my mom is so healthy and independent at 94. That's wonderful. That's amazing. I'm really happy for her and for you. You said you traveled across the country. Dang. Um, like like here's California and here's New York. You travel like, or some variation thereof. Like, I'm imagining, like, a map of the United States with, like, pins with, like, strings on them, like the guy who's, like, has all the conspiracy theories and is losing it. That's how I've mapped out the travel. Oh, you're in Canada, I'm sorry, I forgot. So, from Alberta to Ontario, Canada. So, I'm gonna have to get a visual of that because I don't know 'cause I know Canada's huge. Like, I think bigger than the United like, land area, it's bigger than the US, isn't it? Let's see. Ontario. You could probably tell me, and it would be quicker than what I'm doing here. Ontario to Alberta. I've also heard some like, since I've, like, gotten hooked into this community, I've met a lot of people, like, from Canada, and I've learned all sorts of cool Canadian like, city names and town names. One of my favorites to say is Saskatoon because it has the "toon" in it. That always makes me really happy. Oh, wow. 9 wait, 2,682 kilometers. Wow. The road distance is 3,558 kilometers. In miles for us US peoples, that's 1,753 miles. That is a long drive. Did you drive or did you fly, Janet? Either way, that's a long travel. I'm glad that you get to spend time with your mom, though. That's really great. That's really great. And now I'm going down a rabbit hole of traveling in Canada, and it's got now I've got, like, flights, like, like, amounts, like, Edmonton. I could go to Edmonton for $470 or Calgary. What if I wanted to jump on a plane to somewhere in Canada now? I wanna see how much it would cost. Like, flight I'm not going to. This is just an exercise. Flights from Dallas to Alberta. Let's say I'm going to Alberta, where Janet G hails from. Oh, it's not so bad. Wait, this isn't until May 27th. I couldn't just hop on one today. But if I wanted to go to Calgary, like, on May 27th, I could get a flight from around 300 bucks. So mom says, "We've done a brunch with my mom, auntie, and sister-in-law, and niece, and nephew. It's 12:21 hours just after lunch now." That's right, it's like lunchtime. I know that there's parts of Canada your part of Canada is I wanna say you have told me before, I wanna say Perth, but I could be wrong. So correct me. I don't know why, but I wanna say Perth in my head. Um, I know, on your part of Canada, when I go online at your part, I've designated it as belonging to you. I hope everyone's okay with that. Your part, when I go live around 11, it's like lunchtime there. But then Cosmic Christie's part, I think, is a couple hours after that. Now, I do remember that much. I do remember that much. You did not drive that far. It would take 3 or 4 days. Yeah, that's a long time. Hi, Mischief. I'm so happy to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate it. 1 hour from Calgary. Okay, that's not that far. So I could do Silly Saturday. I also could do show and tell Saturday because I have these cool little, like, nifty items that are on my desk that are new, and I thought would be fun to share. So I got a little Mother's Day gift early from my little guy. They're these little combination, like it's this little, like, packet of these little, like, happy crocheted dudes. Are they not the cutest? And they each have, like, a little, like, saying on them. Like, this one is a pickle. Like, I guess they're crocheted, and it says, "Emotional support pickle," and it says, "I will always be around to let you know that you are a big dill." Isn't he cute? "Hey, I'm a pickle. Hey, guys. Hey." And then we've also got said, "I'm always rooting" in the wings here. I sent a people
Hi.
to pop on. "Hey, Mary." I don't think I I don't have your mic muted. I need to change my speakers. I can't hear you yet. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, Jesse. Let me see. Let me see. I need to change my settings here. I need to get my earbuds or something.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, please. Let's see.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
I don't know if you're muted or if I'm muted.
As far as I know,
Let's see.
I'm
Let's
not you.
see. Edit. Settings. Oh, you hear both of us, Janet. So it's just me that doesn't hear. Okay. So I need to put in my earbuds or something. Okay. So it's me. There she is. Okay. Awesome. 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 I just got to put my earbuds
Here,
in so we don't have an echo. It's just me, you guys.
you can't hear me?
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. 1 second. I'm going to put my Bluetooth thingies on and then I can hear you without the echo.
Echo, echo, echo. Can you hear me
There we go.
now? Technical issues,
'Cause I don't want y'all to
everybody.
be hearing the echo from my computer. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
She's learning all
Turning
this
on
stuff.
my earbuds. Make me agree.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, guys. Please hold. Please
Okay, this
hold.
is really
I
silly
don't know
Monday.
why it's the
Silly
sound. Okay, there we go.
Saturday.
Awesome. There we go. There we go. Okay, okay, okay. I think I can hear you now, Miss Mary.
You can hear me? You can hear me?
Oh, and I just realized I had somebody else running in the background. So I was hearing their sound too.
Welcome to Silly Saturday, everybody.
Yay! I can hear you now. This is
You can hear me.
fantabulous.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day too, Mary. This is appropriate for Silly Saturday that I'm having so
Yeah,
much of a struggle just getting the sound working
I feel like
properly for me.
I feel like that commercial, that phone commercial that used to say, "Can you hear me? Can you
Can
hear
you hear me
me?"
now? Can you hear me now? Who trickled in when I was trying to figure out my sound here? Well, thanks for hopping on with me, Mary. It's always more fun when I have someone to chat with too. And I know you've been like
Oh,
on screen all night tonight, haven't you? Are we wearing you out?
I wasn't intended to be.
Weren't you on somebody right before? On, like another
No,
channel right before this?
I was going to come on at 4, and I didn't have a migraine anymore, thank goodness. But I just
That's
had
good.
enough where I was like, I'm not going on. And then we got a message that our captain wasn't feeling well. And so,
Yeah.
it was like several people offered. And so I was the one that wanted, they got it, which was fine. Cause then I went to my mom about 7:30. I'm like, how do you feel about going on? Which I thought she really did great
Yeah, she was.
on the
She was
boat.
great. She rolled with it. She chatted. She was good. She was great.
And then while I was on the boat, Christina's like, can I hop on? And I'm like, I can't do it.
It's too much complication. Like too many moving parts, too many bells and whistles.
Whole computer that may have actually fought back against all that.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need it to crash right in the middle of the boat,
No.
right? That
So
would be
then
a
it was
drag.
like, and then so we got off, and I thought, well, I'll go back on for Christina.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
was there with you guys.
yes, you were. And I was making egg pie, and I thought, and then you sent me a message. I have go on with Kristen for a little bit. Wish her happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, I was just figuring out. So using StreamYard, I kind of forget you can just drop somebody a link like that. Like I forget you can even do it. But then you sent one to me and I couldn't go on, but I was like, "Oh, I can do that." I can just be like, "Hey, if you want to pop on, here's a link."
Yep. I
So,
told her in my chat, I said, you have an open invitation.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna drop Mary a link. And then I gave Miss Sunrise Dawn one too, but I think she's still modding over at Hey Carrie Ann's channel. So she's probably busy. But who else showed up while I was figuring out my sound? Let's see. Let's see. Jesse Miller unboxings and more is here. Hi, Jesse Miller. I have one of your videos in my watch later playlist that I'm excited to. An extra hot pickle. I've never had spicy pickles before. Oh, look who
You,
it is! Hi, Lord Kiss Freak.
I will send you all the hot stuff. You can have it all.
All of it for me.
Oh,
Maybe Lord Kiss Freak wants some of it too, though.
my dad peppers, much like in his later on in his life, like in his 20s on. He used
He
to
grew
love
them,
stuffed peppers, but he
or
would
he.
have really bad reaction with
Oh,
his stomach when he ate them. So I wasn't raised with hot stuff. We didn't have
okay.
stuff. We couldn't have any peppers in anything.
So he
So
liked the taste of them, but he couldn't tolerate them.
he could eat peppers until he was in his 20s, and then Christina's kind of having the same thing.
Oh,
And then
really?
the stomach would start rumbling, and it was like no go. So
Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
raised with hot stuff at all because we couldn't have it in any of our stuff. There was no hot peppers or anything like that.
Because it affected them, so you didn't have any,
His stomach
uh
so tolerate them.
yeah. Hey,
But
Rick Spicer.
hi,
I was
Rick.
just checking to see who's trickling in. Let's see. Hey, look, it's Davy. Thanks for coming to say hi to us, Davy.
Hey. I just I'm not putting up my computer. I'm just going on my phone.
Oh, are
That's
you
it.
on your phone?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not getting my computer. Computer take
Miss
half an hour to warm up.
Mischief says Mischief's not interested in the crazy spicy stuff either. So
Did you like that short I did of cricket? That was
yes,
hysterical.
I loved
That
that. If you
riot.
guys didn't see that, you have to check that out. Mary, Cricket froze last night on her live, and Mary put a little like the way she was standing, like
It was like she was like,
Mary put a little
wait,
crown on her. It
it
was
looked
really
like
cute.
she was placing her crown on her head. It was hysterical. She was I made sure it was okay to do it before I posted it. She's like, "Yeah, I posted it. It's hysterical."
It's adorable. I loved it. There's
Yeah.
probably some kind of way like I can screen share it on here, but I'm not that
Oh.
savvy with StreamYard yet, and I don't wanna accidentally, like, drop anybody or drop myself.
I sent you a picture of it through your phone. Through
Yeah,
your
oh, I can do it on my phone, can't I?
See, that's
The
what Big Sis
power.
for. They're here to remind you.
Yeah, you remind me because I can't keep everything in my brain at all, not even a little bit.
This was
Um,
after 2 hours of trying to find the northern lights we never found last night. We came home and we
yeah, I
and
can't
I just came on her live and all of a sudden I'm watching her with that look. I broke out. I was hysterical. It was a riot.
I couldn't see them either. Like, there was supposed to be a possibility that we could see them from here in the Dallas area, but, I mean, it's so this is Mary's awesome update of Chow Yun because Chow Yun Smut froze in that queen of the corner booth. I thought that was pretty epic, Mary. Like, that's pretty awesome.
And
I s
the minute she started laughing, I'm like, "Oh, she saw it."
She saw it live too. I think I was asleep when she put it on screen the first time though, so I'm glad you sent it to me.
Well, she didn't have it on screen because her camera was frozen.
Oh, that's right, but when she
So
saw it, she laughed
all of a
live
sudden,
and yeah.
heard her coming, and then she heard ding, and then you heard her laughing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
That must have been me.
Oh, she was like, I'm like, "You can use it too." And then I did it to like the song of the Philharmonic of Frozen. My daughter will kill.
She does your daughter not like Frozen?
Oh,
Does
she
it
hates.
drive her nuts? She just doesn't
Let
like
it go.
it? So we don't wanna let it go, or we do. We wanna let the whole thing go because she doesn't like it. Is that how it works?
She never kicked into that movie.
No, never?
Never.
I think like, I was not its target audience, like, I guess, like, I was an adult when it came out, but I still enjoyed it, because I like Idina Menzel, the vocalist who does the main who does Elsa voice, because I like her, because she was also in Wicked, she was also in a bunch of other Broadway musicals, um, but it does get old, like, you do hear it over and over and over and over again.
I
Any
like
song
this.
that you hear that many times.
I like the snowman. I
The
like that.
snowman Olaf!
Yeah,
Olaf!
but I love snow. I love snowmen.
You
I,
love
ab-
snowmen in
I
general, not just Olaf.
yes,
Okay, okay.
I love
But
snowmen.
Olaf was oh, and Olaf is a cute, cute, cute snowman, so who can hate him? Does Christina okay with Olaf the snowman? Or is she just, like,
No,
blanket hates the whole movie? Like, it can all go be in a fire.
the entire thing. She won't do it. She hates it all.
That's ironic. All the Frozen can go be in a fire as far as Christina is concerned.
Now, I love Jungle Book,
She loves
and
Jungle Book, though.
we used to take that
Okay.
movie and we used to hide it. And every time my dad would find that movie, and we used to come home, and I swore I knew that she had watched that movie because she turned into Mowgli.
Oh, like, she would imitate him?
She would try to
Oh.
do everything, including me. I mean, it was like she was climbing on couches and trying to jump on things, and
See, that's just like par for the like that's just what my son does generally, even if he's not imitating something. Like he just does that. We were over at my in-laws' house today, like doing early Mother's Day for my mother-in-law, and we're sitting on the couch and he literally is climbing on the back of the couch and just like sprawled across the narrow part of it like a cat.
there was a book. I can't remember what the title was, but it was about this possums. Do they have the long tails? Not possum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, it's about this possum,
With
and
like
it did,
giant rats.
yeah, it had did something to cut a hole in a blanket or a little sleeping bag so it could put his tail through. Right.
A hole in his blanket for his tail to go
To
through.
tail to go through, right? And
Mhm.
I found blankets to cut holes in as a kid. Because we read this book. I have to get the name of it, and we found it to go through so I copied out of the book, and then we kept it for some silly reason, and I decided to my daughter, and I found blankets all over the house with holes cut it.
For the possums. Oh, that's kind of sweet. Oh.
Went in the garbage, and it'll never be ready.
Yeah, well.
I holes in blankets.
I can't think if there's something like that I did. Okay, so my grandmother had something like that. She had like a little um like a model bird in a little whoops, let's knock over the microphone, shall we? A little model bird in a little cage. Like it's just a little decorative thing that you hang up. It's not a real bird. And she had it at her house in her kitchen, like over her sink. And I was a kid and I knew on level it was not a real bird, but every time I went over there, I opened the door. I was like, the bird needs to be able to leave if he wants to. That bird needs to be able to fly out. So I always opened the door. And she always was like, why is this open? Kid logic. Oh, hey,
It's a
Mist is
little.
here. Hi, Miss Dragon. Good to see you.
Yeah, kid logic doesn't always make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's fun though. Yes, you guys, Lord Kiss Freak has 23 minutes left of his birthday. I guess if you're on Central Time Zone like me, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could probably claim every time zone, maybe if you wanted to be like really greedy about it.
Double a year. That's all I need.
What was that? My sound cut out for just a second. It kind of I missed every
Trouble
other
having
word.
one birthday a year. That's it. I don't need any more. I'm fine.
You don't need any more. Okay. I have mixed feelings about my birthday. Like on the one hand, I like the excuse to like take off work and not do things. But then on the other hand, I'm like I kind of like the recognition a little bit, but then I also kind of am like, oh, I don't know, don't make a big deal about me. It's a weird thing. Like I kind of like
There's
it, but I kind of don't. It's funny.
there's always excuse for cake, but as you get older,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah. Yeah,
don't want
cake
to.
is good no matter what.
That's why I celebrate my 29th birthday over and over and over again. So I'm gonna
I think my
celebrate
mother
it.
started doing that too. I think then she upped it to like 35 because it got weird when we were all over 30. Janet G, thinking of changing my name to Night Owl. What do you guys think? Well, you do have an owl in your avatar, a very pretty owl. And you do come hang out on the night stream, so it could be accurate. You'd have to I mean, if you wanted, you could like not tell anyone else you were changing it, and then you could like come in and be like, haha, I'm a new person. No one knows me. Like alter ego mode. Or you just have to tell everybody, hi guys, it's Janet. I changed my name.
Except the people that
Y'all
were
ever done
listening.
that before? Oh yeah, yeah, except the people that were listening here. Like if you want to go full alter ego and have nobody know, you can't tell me here. Not on the live stream anyway. If you tell me off the live stream, I'll keep your secret. I'll take it to the grave. But if you say it on a live stream, that's different.
I did create a handle for those that gave Josh the name Mr. Bluster Crochet. He
I
did
saw that.
that.
That made me so happy.
Yeah.
Mr. Blessed to Crochet.
Well, he was the one that when I was first thinking, my mom and I were kind of thinking the names. I'm like, I wanted it to be Blessed too, but I didn't like the way it looked. And he said, just change out the 2 for 2, the number 2. So he was the one that
Yeah.
came that 2 in the middle. So I'm like, well, you're owed something.
Yeah. So, oh, uh-oh. Is this recent? I was sitting in the emergency department. I was terribly Oh, is this recent? Oh, no, this is just when Frozen was on. Okay. I was terribly sick and waited to get seen for such a long time. I'd heard that movie 3 times straight. Never Okay. All right. I was concerned you were, like, just in the ER or the emergency department today, Mon. I'm glad that you are not, but I'm sorry you had to hear Frozen so many times immediately through. Wow. The chat's cooking. I was trying to do that thing where like, "Here, I can show everybody." Oh, look, new people came in. They heard you were gonna be here, Mary. More people showed up when they heard you were gonna be here. "Hey, y'all, just got home today." "Oh, no, not one of the worst days. I'm so sorry, Misha."
We're praying.
One's for Misha. I don't know why it was the worst day in so long. If you feel like talking about it, please do. Or if you don't, we'll just send ones and love and prayers and all the good vibes and sparkly
Kristen's
things. Oh, sorry.
Kristen's going to put some one-ins for me because if I think I hit the magic thing that says join the chat, I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't want to try.
Oh, is there like a different button? Does it look different on your end? Like,
On my phone, it looks like it says chat, and when I go in and I've tried to do that before,
oh,
chat, it messes it all up.
it would look different on the phone interface. I didn't think about that. I have never
Yeah.
tried to join a StreamYard from my phone before.
I can see the chat. I've just chose not to hit the button that says join in because I think it's going to
Okay.
knock me.
Well,
We're
it
not
might
gonna-
make it to where you can't see our screen. I don't know. It would be that would be something we would test, I guess, beforehand if we
I don't want to do it now. I'm too tired to do it now. Not that I'm too tired. I'm just my brain is.
So are these guys, is this crochet? Is that what made them?
It looks like it. Where did you find that?
These were given to me. These were a gift. There was like a little kit of them. It came with emotional support pickle
It looks like it's crochet.
and yeah,
Yeah, it looks crochet.
and I'm always rooting for you, the broccoli.
Aw.
And Positive Potato says, "I may be a tiny potato, but I believe in you. Go do your thing."
Oh, that's
Tiny
so cute.
potato.
I
And there's
am
one
not.
more. These are tiny, right? They're like,
Don't
and
ask
then
me.
there's a turtle. I guess I don't know, he might be a tortoise. Becca Jean would know.
Oh my goodness.
He's so tiny. Yeah, I
That's
don't know. This is a little gift set given to me by hubby and 5-year-old. Hubby found them, I'm sure.
called amigurumi, and that's not this girl. I had
What's that?
Here, Laura Kiss Freak. Here you go. Here's a cupcake.
A cupcake!
I had enough trip.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday. See, we give you a cupcake. Anyway,
I
that's
really like the colors on the top frosting part. That's beautiful.
well, it's a yarn. That's a yarn.
I love the multicolor. That's so pretty.
It looks like sprinkles, but I'm making one for
Yeah.
you. I'm making one for you, but it's going to have a yellow bottom to it.
Oh, thank you. I feel so special.
The cutest thing that I'm going to make you, and you won't have to set the house on fire.
I won't have to set the house on fire? Oh, good. Oh, good. People
Remember-
don't like it when I do that.
I'm sure your husband and your son won't remember when you had
No.
that thing you were waving, that straw, whatever it was.
Oh, my, this little guy. He was the
Yeah.
only celebratory item I had handy. He's a Mickey Mouse crazy straw.
Well, I found this wand.
A wand. Ooh.
Yes, and it has a star, and you can crochet the star, and that I can do. And then you put
Oh,
it,
cool.
you wave it back and forth, and I thought that's Kristen.
Oh, I love that. I would love to see that.
So it's a way of
Thank you
making
for thinking of me.
it's a way of making you a sparkler safely that you can
Sparkle without, yeah. Yeah, you guys, last time somebody said something on a live I was doing where I wanted to be celebratory and I didn't have anything. I thought, oh, well, I have some sparklers in my closet. Maybe I should light some sparklers. And then I was like, wait, you're not supposed to do that inside, are you? So Mary's helping me. Mary's looking out for me. I don't set my house on fire.
So I thought
Aw.
that's Kristen. That way, when she has somebody's
Mm.
birthday, she can raise a cupcake, and when she wants to celebrate something, she can wave the wand.
Yeah, I like the cupcakes better. Like I
Yes.
found these random things and they're kind of fun, but they're I don't know, they're a little anticlimactic. They're just kind of like, you
Just
know.
floppy.
But we love Floppy. We love Floppy the trophy. He's our mascot now.
Oh my! I
Misha,
have.
I'm so sorry. Misha, I'm so sorry about what happened with your oldest.
Make sure
I'm
you're.
so sorry.
I wish I could give you a huge hug.
Yeah, we all want to we're all giving you our virtual hugs and love.
And I'm not seeing much of the chat, so I'm. It's not that I'm not paying attention. I am, but
You're on your phones.
yeah. So
It's
it's
teeny
not.
weeny.
It's skinny mini, and
Oh,
I'm, like, to me right now,
it
even
sounds
though I have
like
glasses,
yeah.
everything's blurry.
Gotcha. Misha, it sounds like your oldest is grieving, and some of that is, that's going to be complicated grief because of what you went through,
Okay.
and that's hard when it's around the little one. But I don't know, when I lose it in front of my 5-year-old, I come back and I say, "Hey, I was just really, really upset. I'm sorry. That wasn't about you. It wasn't your fault." And we can say that to our I mean, maybe we can say that to the 9-year-old too. Like, "Hey, she was really upset. That wasn't your fault." You know?
I've lost it.
But we're hugging. Yeah. Oh, Meredith just got home from a concert. Meredith's in around my neck of the woods. Looks like she already logged off, but Meredith, if you're still here, let us know what concert you went to. I wanna know why I didn't go.
Or when I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, Christina was like 13. I know this is so minor compared to
Yeah,
what me through. I know it's no comparison, but I just remember losing it, and I had to go
yeah,
back to my. Really sorry. I was grieving over the loss of who I was.
yeah. But that's a huge change.
Yeah, it was. It was
Like,
going to
it's
be
yeah, we're not playing it's not a competition. It's anytime
no,
something big happens,
no
you know?
fact that I was going to deal with pain for the rest of my life in some
Yeah,
capacity. And like I say, I'll my there's just hugs to Misha. I just can't imagine what
yeah,
her daily life and what she's going through. I
yeah,
admire her tremendously. She has got the sweetest heart, just so she knows, of anybody that I've ever come across in my life. She really does.
mm, agree for sure. You
And
said
my
it's like
prayers.
Misha also said, Mom's Day has always been hard as well. Mom's Day is hard for a lot of people. And hey, Misha, you're not raining on anything.
No, you're
Like,
not.
you're not
Not at all.
raining.
That's what we're here for. No
Like,
suffer in silence. Nobody.
exactly, for sure. You ain't raining on nothing. Like,
No.
if you got something to talk about, yeah, please do. Please do.
If
I
I
wish I
can
could
go
come
back
keep a
to
break.
lifeboat,
You said I'm
comfy, or
tired. I wish I could come babysit for you or something.
I mean, I know what. Like I said tonight on the boat, I said I know what it's like. I have my mom, but I don't have my dad, and that's next month. I
Yeah.
know, like, when and Father's Day is Sunday, and my birthday is like 2 days later.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
always hard
Mhm.
because it always falls on that. And
Yeah.
you know, I know what it's like on one end. I don't know what it's like on the other, and I don't want to find out anytime soon. I told him,
Yeah.
can't leave her till she's 150.
Well, it's a deal then, right?
Yeah.
I have, like there's, like, every now and then so I don't really I'm a very skeptical person, but every now and then I meet someone, if I get to know them well enough, I get a sense of like, you're gonna live to be like 95. And like I just know it. And I mean, I have nothing to base that on and like we'll see, like with time. But like, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel that when I meet somebody and it's funny. But
Look,
uh
peek it till then.
My grandmother lived till she was 95, and it was absolute out of
yeah.
sheer.
Piss and vinegar.
Exactly.
It was out of spite.
Out. It was. She was just. She's just she was tough cookies all the way to the end.
Vim and vigor.
Yeah.
Vim and vinegar. I like it. I like it. Oh,
She was
Gary Clark Jr. was at Choctaw. Cool. Choctaw, you guys. Well, if you're around here, you know it's in Oklahoma. And my part of Texas is like Oklahoma. Parts of Oklahoma are closer to me than a lot of parts of Texas. Like I could be in Oklahoma in under an hour, but San Antonio is like many, many, many hours. Oh, wow. So this is something people can relate to. Misha. Mischief says, I lost my oldest daughter in 2007. Mother's Day is hard. There's a lot of support here. I just didn't want that to be missed. Janet G says, Misha, we're here for you. And when you're going through something hard, we want you to know we want to be here.
Well, that's why I said on the boat too. I said, if you don't have your mom here, or you've had a difficult relationship with your mother, or you've lost a child, or whatever it is, run to Connection. Well, it was yesterday. Run to Connection today. That's what the boat's here for.
Yeah.
Kristen's here for. If somebody messages me tomorrow afternoon and says, listen, turn the lighthouse on, I don't necessarily need to be on. I'll turn it on if people just need to talk. But
Mhm.
run to the Connection point tomorrow. That's what we're all here for.
Mhm.
Somebody.
For sure.
Don't sit here in silence tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's okay to
And
hurt.
yeah. And we can't necessarily one thing that I kind of struggled with for a long time is like wanting to make everything better for everyone else, but sometimes people just need to know that people care and are supported, right? Some things like there is no you can't make it better, right? You just want to be with each other, right?
Well, that's why I tell that story about Elvis and for those that haven't heard it, the wheelchair is because
Mhm.
he found out about the story. The lady didn't have any legs. She had taken care of kids and kids and grandkids, and he found out about it
Mhm.
and got a wheelchair. Best one money could buy back in the 70s. Hand delivered it to her. Didn't call the news media and all the stuff. Didn't do any of that. Just came to her house, got the wheelchair out, knocked on the door, and said to her husband, "We've got this wheelchair. Can we give it to her?" And he said, "Of course," and had them come in. And she came around in this little wooden uh, scooter thing that they had built her with two roller skates she used to go around the house. They said the
Hmm.
house was spotless. She saw this wheelchair and she said, "Can I sit in it?" And Elvis and one of the bodyguards lifted her up, put her in it. And he said, "I don't know much about this chair, but I know it goes really fast. I'll take you anywhere you want to go."
Can haul
And
butt in the wheelchair.
it gave the husband some money, and he talked for a few minutes. He said, "We got to get out of here." They all were crying in tears. And he came out of the house. And the important part of that story is one of his bodyguards turned and said, "Elvis, I don't think she knew who you were." And he said, "It didn't matter who I was. It mattered that she knew someone cared."
Yeah.
He didn't go
I
back in
love
the
that
house,
story too, Mary.
gave you that wheelchair. I'm Elvis Presley. No, it didn't matter. He just wanted to know someone cared.
Yeah.
That's all it is. People want to
Mhm.
know who cares. We can't
Mhm.
fix it. He couldn't have fixed it and made her have legs.
Right.
All
You can't.
he was-
Yeah.
and I didn't learn about that story till I was like 45 years into it.
Wow.
Where I heard that and I was like,
I love that story too. It's very powerful. I mean, that's what some losses feel like too, right? It feels like losing legs almost. I mean, maybe that's a dumb thing for me to say. I'm lucky enough to have all my limbs, but that feeling of like something's missing that you can't, overcome. Oh wow, missed. So for you, Mother's Day has just been an average day. I hope you are celebrated as a mother missed because you deserve that. Even if you don't feel like you have someone else you can celebrate in that way. I hope you are celebrated because you deserve that. It is okay to be sad. It
It's
is.
yeah.
It's just part of it. It's part of life, right? And if we were never sad, we would never know what it feels like to be happy, and that would stink. That would be lame.
You and I have
Yeah,
done
and something
text
stuck
back
with
and
you a long
forth.
time.
I'm not having a good day.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
yeah. I've called you in, like, a huge mess before. You got the really, really messy Kristen phone call not that long
okay,
ago.
told you anytime.
Uh, it was not nearly as, and I did one video about, like, ugly crying in general, and a lot of people were really kind about it, and there was like, "Oh, are you okay? I can help." And I was like, "Well," and that's nice, but I also was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to, like, make everybody, like, feel bad for me." I was just kinda trying to say, like, it's okay to not be okay, you know? Like,
And
does that make sense?
yeah, and for the people here, what you see between Kristen and I, it's it's as well as it is on screen as off. You know, and I think if it hadn't been for the lifeboat, I would have never met her. But if people
Mhm.
don't think friendships can be created through this vessel, it can be because we're an example of it.
Absolutely. Lord Kiss Freak, I can see you. Don't worry. I can see you. This is one of the first times I've had, like, my own live stream with a guest on with a chat. So, if I'm not keeping up great, I apologize. But apparently Lord Kiss Freak sent me pictures. Apparently, like, everybody's sending me, like, something. Not everybody, but oh, wow, look at this. Look at this. I've got what do I have here? It's funny, I have to turn up the brightness. It's show and tell. It's show and tell Saturday. Oh, Lord Kiss Freak sent us pictures of the Aurora Borealis, you guys.
Don't
Y'all
get
wanna
me started
see?
on them
I
lights.
do.
Don't get me started on them lights.
Look it. I don't know how well it translates here. You're mad that you couldn't see it. Well, he's in Canada, so he can see a little
We were
bit better
hunting.
than we can.
We were hunting for those
Wow.
dang on.
When you say
Oh,
you were hunting, were you, like, driving around?
we drove around for 2 freaking hours last night.
2
Nothing.
hours? Where did you
Focus.
go? Were you just trying to, like, go places where there was less light pollution? Look at this. This is
Yes, we
dramatic.
we can drive. It doesn't take us long to get out in the country. We drove. There was nothing, and
These
there
are
was pictures
beautiful.
where we're seeing them, and I'm like, Mocha didn't know what was happening. My mom came just in case, we saw him. Thank God for
Did
the
Mocha you said Mocha came with you or Mocha stayed at
yeah.
home? Your mom
What
kept Mocha.
are you all doing, you crazy people? And we were looking for those lights that we never saw. I'm still
Mischief,
mad.
would you like me to show you the picture of your daughter, or did you wanna leave that private? She's beautiful. Oh, she's holding a fox. Oh. I always think it's really cool when people send pictures like that. Like, I get to see part of, people's life that I don't normally and I always think that's really cool when you do that on your channel, Mary, when you share a little bit about, like, your family life and, like, when you have your mother on and when you shared about your dad. I love that,
She
you
was
know?
funny. Thanks God I didn't have too much notice. I literally about 20.
For the boat, you mean?
Oh, hey, you want to do this? I just,
Was it just
it wasn't planned. It was just like, Mom, you want to come on?
because you were like, "I don't know if I wanna try to" you're just like, "I don't have a topic. I need somebody to chat with and play off of." Is it kinda that sort of thing?
Kind of, but
I never have a topic. I don't know what I would do.
she also struggles or had struggled. And my grandmother was a perfect example of somebody that wouldn't ask for help for nothing. I mean, we had a baby monitor over at my grandmother's house. My grandmother moved in with my mom, and so we were next door to each other. And we had a baby monitor. She didn't know it because if she fell for any reason, I could run over there and help, see what was going on.
Mhm.
And I would go over there at 11:30 because that's when she was starting to get her lunch together. And I could hear her rumbling around at 11:30, and so I go over there and she would do it. And then she started rumbling around. I'm like, wait a minute, she's rumbling around at 11 o'clock.
Mm.
And I go over there and I said, Nana. She goes, oh, I'm just getting my lunch now. Then it was like, okay, then she'd start realizing I was get keen to this 11 o'clock thing, and she'd start rumbling around at 10:30. And I finally
Like she
looked,
was trying to do it without help.
yeah, oh yes. And then she was like 10 o'clock, like, Nana, you cannot eat tuna fish. You cannot leave tuna fish salad out for 2 solid hours before you eat it.
That's not a good idea.
No. So then we had to get her a lunchbox so she could put her stuff in the lunchbox. So goodness, yeah, she was she was a tough cookie, but my lord, she used to drive us nuts. 'Cause I was like, well,
It's hard to ask for help sometimes.
it is, but I thought it was good to have her on and give her that perspective. Plus
Yeah, for her to see it from your side.
and the perspective of her dad, who was an alcoholic too, and kind of that path too as well. She said, well, I don't know how that, not asking for help really fits into it, but it does, because my grandfather, everything was fine. There's not a problem, nothing to worry about, nothing to see. And so, as long as that was said, then nobody needed to ask for help. I mean, do
Mhm.
you imagine them coming and putting a sign up on your door saying you have X amount of days to get out of here? Because
Wow.
he didn't pay the mortgage, so they were coming back to him for taxes. And my grandmother just
Wow.
signed off because she didn't want her family from Scotland to know anything was wrong.
Oh, wow. So everybody just, like, was trying to make it be like everything was okay when it wasn't, and it wasn't helping anybody.
Oh, they just had to walk. I mean, they did have to just walk out and just take the
Yeah.
suitcase with clothes on and leave everything else there,
Oh, wow.
because
I wow.
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine doing that.
I'm trying to wrap my brain around the idea of, like, having to just, like, leave and, like, pick up and, like, just take off and go somewhere else with,
Yeah.
like, just what I can carry. Like that floors me. Like, I know lots of people have had that experience, like, people, back then and, like, people who have been, homeless for any period of time, you kinda have to do that. You kind of have to limit to what you can carry. I've been fortunate that I can't imagine having to, I mean, there's a lot of junk I have in my house that probably is not necessary. It kinda puts things in perspective though, right?
I think the only thing she was able to get out of the house was that piano
Oh, wow.
in our living room that was a torture to get out of the storage unit and everything, because she was able to say something that was able to get the piano out. But they just literally had to pack a suitcase and leave because, you know, his alcoholism was more important. But
Mhm.
back then they didn't have the help they have now. They weren't treating it like they are
It
now.
wasn't any assistance or
No,
support or anything like that.
no.
Oh,
It,
wow. Miss Sunrise Dawn. I'm sorry if I'm super far behind in the chat. Miss Sunrise Dawn says, "I'm pretty sure my 5-year-old has OCD." That's really young to notice that. My husband has it. I do too, but his is more severe than mine. My 5-year-old is determined to keep the living room clean and had a breakdown when I told her she couldn't clean the table off yet. Wow, that she couldn't clean the table off yet? I mean, that could be all kinds of things. 5-year-old is pretty early. Like, and I'll like so I'm not diagnosing anybody from afar. Like, let's just put that disclaimer on it. Um, but like generally speaking, 5-year-old is pretty young to diagnose that. It's not impossible, but I mean, especially if there's like a family history of it, it's possible. But that could be lots of other things too. Like that could be OCD, but I mean, Mary might have some insight on this too with her daughter, but some of that can be like neurodivergence too.
so,
Like I know for some kiddos with like autism spectrum, like somewhere along that spectrum, they like things to be predictable and they like routine. And sometimes
Routine.
that can extend and sometimes that can extend to where stuff is and, like, how it's arranged, you know? I don't know about Christina, Mary, but, my kiddo did the lining things up a lot. He would, like, arrange things in patterns. Like, I know a lot of little kids on the spectrum will line up objects and stuff like that.
My cousin, I heard, used to literally get himself his toys in a circle, and he
Mhm.
would place them in a circle, and then he would absolutely have a huge meltdown because he couldn't figure out how to get out of the circle.
Oh, poor baby.
So I can kind of understand that. She
Yeah.
didn't have that, but as she got older, if all her toys were in the bedroom, she would bring
Mm.
them out because she didn't want to be by herself. She
Gotcha.
wouldn't play with them by herself in her room. She'd bring them all out.
He's kind of moved past it now, but as far as, like, things like items being just so, my little guy used to do that. Like, we used to have a routine where we'd give him, like, a milk sippy and a water sippy, like, right around bedtime, and he would line them up just so on the side of his toddler bed, and if one of them, like, tipped slightly or wasn't set up just the way he wanted, he would, like, "No!" Like, he would be really upset, like, there would be tears. Like, it wasn't like a temper fit, it was like a, "This is emotionally painful." It was
Yeah,
kinda like that.
because it's a sensory thing.
Because
And
it's like
they
yeah.
it's like Christina going to the store and they're out of they're out of the flat carrots, and she didn't like the crinkle because of the texture in in her mouth. So she would have a fit because there's no flat carrots.
Because, like, she couldn't imagine, like, "How can I'm not
She
gonna be able to have the flat carrots, it's gonna be
wanted
awful."
she wanted the sliced flat carrots, but all they had was the crinkle, and she couldn't tolerate the crinkle because it was a sensory issue.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So I don't
she'd have a meltdown in the middle of the store over crinkled
just
carrot.
thinking about it, even though she wasn't trying to eat them, just thinking about it, it was upsetting her that much.
Was upset because they didn't have the flat carrots. And why didn't they have the flat carrots? And we went on and on about the flat carrots.
Mhm.
She still doesn't like her.
She still doesn't like crinkle cuts, huh?
Yeah.
Miss
The
Donray's dad said we finally did get the table cleaned and she was really scrubbing at tiny little spots. Okay, maybe that is more mirror tabletop and she refused to go to bed until she cleaned the end table off. That is really specific to cleaning.
yeah.
That doesn't sound like the lining up sensory kind of
No,
thing. Um, I hope that you guys are hooked up with a good doctor, a good professional to go talk to about this. If you are not, Psychology Today is a good resource where you can type in your location, your insurance or lack of insurance, and find somebody near you who can help assess stuff like that. Um,
behavioral
and if you
therapy.
don't have insurance, yeah, especially for like little kiddos. Um, and for something like that, for like OCD, there's so much anxiety involved. You know, like the lining up things is like secondary. Like the having things needing to be clean, things needing to be just so, like that's secondary. But what it is people do that because there's like this intense feeling of anxiety, like that's inner, and it doesn't go away until you like get everything just so. Um, at least that's the way people have described it to me. So it's almost like if that's what's going on, you have to find someone who can help you treat the anxiety first
My
to
husband,
kind of help with that.
he doesn't really have OCD, but he has, of course, the ADHD and I think probably on the autism spectrum. But when he would work on
Mhm.
a car, because he used to be an auto mechanic, he would take, he would be a lot longer because he was such a perfectionist when it came to it. He would memorize
Really?
every, but he was so methodical, and working at like
Yeah.
place the quick places that wanted things done in a hurry was not something he could do
Oh, that's
because he was
difficult.
he wanted everything perfect.
I can sort of identify with that. Like, I can't work on cars, but like if I'm working
Neither
on
can I.
something that involves arranging things, I'm kind of a perfectionist about it, and I don't do well if I'm like, I probably wouldn't do great on an assembly line because I want it to be perfect.
It's kind of the way I am with my crochet, but
Yeah.
I still
Oh, do you feel like perfectionist about it? Like, do you want to like start all over if one thing is off?
no, but I'll go back and correct it.
Yeah.
Like if I did not have to sit there and rip all that one blanket out the first top row, I would leave it. But
Mm.
how can you go A, B, C, and then totally skip E, F, G?
Oh, was it a migraine day? We just oh.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, the kid wouldn't notice. He's a baby. He doesn't need those letters yet.
Yeah, I won't be able to take it.
But you would notice and it would bother
Oh,
you forever.
and as she's showing the
Oh,
entire book,
she
the
only
baby
just
shower.
started that. No. I lost sound at the very end for I don't know if it was just me though.
I'm here.
Okay. Mischief. Oh, Sunrise Dawn, is this your little one who was cleaning everything? She just started this behavior in the last couple weeks, so we're still trying to figure it out. Okay. So if it's not been going on if it's not been going on for a long time, that's a little different. Sometimes that can be like maybe the kiddo's having a hard time adjusting to something. Maybe, you know, there could be more to it then if it's not been going on that long.
Look and see what's been happening, going on in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some things, you know, if it's just come on, and
Yeah. Or
the sooner you can get somebody in to help, either by having them go to behavioral therapy, the better it'll be because it won't be so
yes,
ingrained.
for sure. Absolutely. And 5 years old, like I used to work with kids age like 4 and up. And a lot of the time it was I mean, not always, but a lot of the time there was like something having to do with adjusting to something new or like something that changed, like new school, like, someone passed away, something like that. And it was more of like a stress reaction than it was like just like, oh, this disorder or something like that. But it depends on the person. It depends on the kid too.
Well, Christina was diagnosed with bipolar at 5 years old.
That's wild. That I've never seen.
Unsaid
That was probably probably the first 4 years of my career, like, was working in clinics with kids and adults, and I never saw a kid that young diagnosed with bipolar
5
disorder
years old,
ever.
childhood bipolar disorder and ADHD, and I thought I didn't know what I was going to do, and that's why it took until she was 11 to be diagnosed as autistic.
Because they had this wrong idea
They
about
had,
what
and
it
there were
actually
people.
was.
I mean, I had her in so many things on and off for 5 years, and they still diagnosed her wrong. And it took one person to come in my house for an hour. That took literally 45 minutes and looked and said, "This child's autistic." And I looked at them like they were
So they
nuts.
figured it out quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, that person, I wonder what it was that they picked up on so
She just
quickly.
knew autism enough, and she just looked and she said, "This
Yeah.
child is this child's that." And then that's when we took her to Dan Marino and had her, which is, I mean, Dan Marino's child is autistic, and so they were very
Oh.
familiar with all that. And they did the testing and came back and said, "Yep, she's autistic."
Oh, wow. I at first when you said Dan Marino, I was like, "You took her to see the football player?" I was confused. So I was
No,
like, "What did he have to say?"
they are number an autistic, whatever down there in Florida, and that's where we went. And they did that, and then they put
That
all
makes
these
sense then.
electric loop things on her head, and then
Oh,
they
they
even
did.
they even did a MRI of her brain and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So they did all the, like,
Yep,
physical tests as well.
mental
I
wise.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The way that Oh, good night, Davy. Thanks
Good
for
night.
coming to hang out with us.
These crazy people on here.
Oh, and nice to see you, Kristen, a nice lady. This is Mary from Blessed to Crochet, you guys. But
Listen,
she is a nice lady as well. She is a very nice lady.
I try
At
to
least,
keep
you know,
her.
if you're nice to her, I mean, maybe not if you're mean.
I try to keep her. It's the other direction. But anyway, I try to keep her. You know, this person over here. I try to keep her from eating hot stuff, but it hasn't worked.
Yeah, no, it's too fun. It's too fun. Lord Kids Freak, I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry I missed your chats earlier. I was
when
just
you
struggling to toggle, you know?
when you eat those peanuts, your cheeks are a little red, but they get super red, and you can
Really?
see the face. Yes, like,
I think it looks redder than it like, I think it looks more dramatic than it feels. Like, it does feel very hot. Like, I'm not gonna downplay that at all. Like, it is very spicy. Like, it does have a burn to it, not downplaying that at all, but I flush really easily anyway because that's
yeah.
my complexion. Like, I typically don't I generally don't drink alcohol, you know, not because that was my particular issue or anything, but because, like, I just don't like it as much. Like, if I'm gonna have a unhealthy beverage, I'm gonna get a Dr. Pepper, but just drinking alcohol used to, like, make me flush too. Like, I would get a flush reaction from drinking alcohol. Like, I'd have 1 glass of wine and get splotchy. So, my
Did
husband used to call it my boozy rash.
Did you hear Christina on
No, what did
mine?
she say?
She
Just
said
now?
no, like on the live earlier. She said her and her husband went out someplace and he got some kind of spicy chicken and she decided to try it. She said she was coughing and she said, I said, why didn't you? She said, I should have filmed it. She said, I was crying, coughing, and she said it was awful.
If you film it, people will watch. I don't know why.
She
I don't
said,
know why people are
"It
so
was horrible."
fascinated with it.
She said, I decided to take a bite of a spicy chicken. And she said, I almost died.
Spicy chicken, like,
Oh
they make it
my God.
spicy differently. I mean, I guess they do use it like, they put it in the breading sometimes, depending on how they do it.
No,
Oh, wow,
she
my
wasn't
sunrise
with
dawn. If your
spicy either.
husband started presenting around that age too, then maybe that's more likely. Sorry, I just saw that. I thought that was different. That was, yeah, important to note. Oh, wow. So in yeah, things work differently in different countries with diagnoses. Mon says in Australia, it's not till they are post 16 plus for a formal diagnosis, like for depression and etc. So, like, it varies a little bit from state to state, but in the United States, at the clinics that I worked at, we would see kids ages 4 all the way up through adults. And the most frequent things I would see children diagnosed with who came to those clinics was ADHD,
Yeah.
conduct disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and adjustment disorder. Adjustment disorder, like the way it's defined, it's like time limited. Like it's not going to put any kind of like sometimes people are concerned about like labels. Adjustment disorder doesn't like put a label on your kid really because it's written in there that it's limited. It's like time limited and it's because something happened in their life that was upsetting and they're having a stressful response to it and it goes away once the stressor goes away. Um, but most frequently, like oppositional defiant disorder is like your kid struggles with authority. And ADHD, I think most people have heard of that. But there are certain disorders, Mon. So we assess kids very young here for that stuff. We do, but you typically don't see children under a certain age diagnosed much with things like bipolar. So Mary's story is with of her daughter is very different to me because I never saw a kid diagnosed with bipolar that early.
I mean, if she could have been diagnosed correctly, it would have made my life it would have made her life easier and my life because I didn't realize that what she was doing was her
Mhm.
computer was crashing.
Yeah,
Her
she was
crash.
melting down.
She was
Yeah.
having a meltdown that would last 3 hours long, sometimes on and off. And
Mhm.
so that I didn't see that. I just saw this kid that wasn't listening and being defiant. And I'm seeing what I thought was mood swings, because they can go into different kind of moods. But it would have made my life easier and hers if she had been diagnosed properly. Because if we were going to do her bedtime routine and then do her bath, and we decided to change it, we wouldn't have changed it.
Oh, the routine, the change really
it would
upset her.
have a lot of prep work, and it would have made
Yeah.
her sleeping easier.
Yeah.
So it would have made it easier if it was diagnosed correctly.
Yeah. Well, especially like bipolar disorder, you treat totally differently from autism.
Yep.
Because like bipolar disorder is based on, this idea that like you can't regulate your mood and it like goes up and down really intensely. And so all the treatment is around trying to even it out.
Yep.
But with autism, it's the mood change is a reaction to not being able to deal with your environment because it's too overwhelming. It's too overstimulating. Like you said, the computer's crashing. It's different. It's different.
Exactly.
Yeah. Misha says, what scares me about my oldest is she's on newish meds. It reminds me of when she was younger. Our entire lives were turned upside down for so long. I just think losing her sister made things come up. It would. Yeah. I mean, how could something that intense not make things come up? If she is on newish meds though, that's good. If you were her, like I would keep like a journal or a log of how she feels on those day to day, like at different dosages, so you can share that with her doctor. Because sometimes, like I've been on both sides of that. Like I've worked with psychiatrists, like with clients, and then I've also seen my own psychiatrist. And sometimes I've been on new meds, and I'll like go in after a month, and they'll be like, "So how are they doing?" And I'm like, "Heck, I don't remember."
Well,
so
I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to diagnose. But
hashtag no MDs, no
But
MDs in the house
I
here,
do believe,
unless you are. Make yourselves known.
I do believe, that being said, like I look at, I'm an Elvis, and I'm going to be till the day I leave this world. And I spent a lot of my years just liking his music, but I've taken a lot of time getting to try to know who Elvis was. And I believe if you look at his pattern in his life, when his mother died, was the turning point for him. When if he had any kind of bipolar symptoms, those came to a head right then and there. Because the loss of his mother was so hard for him. They said they literally had to hold him back as they were placing her, because he wanted to go there and with her. I mean, he was just devastated. And so I believe that if there was a turning point for him in his state, I think it was right then. And sometimes they say bipolar, and I'm not an expert, but that bipolar can sometimes be dormant until something tragic happens, and then it can come to life.
Yeah, I can see that. And like bipolar disorder particularly has a lot of like it interacts a lot with like physical health too.
Yes.
And like sleep and exercise and food like really mess with bipolar disorder a lot.
I mean, they said he could be up for days. He spent money like water. He had all different, people women in his life. And they said, the bodyguards said that they could hire and fire people. He could hire and fire people like that. I mean, you were hired.
Wow.
I mean, they said his moods could change so quickly. You just from one to another. It was just swinging.
You're all great. We love you all, and you're all fired now.
Yes. And so he did have some other health issues, but I really do believe that was the part where, if anything else, he was probably bipolar, and he was trying to use drugs to equalize, to balance himself.
That happens a lot. And I don't think people always realize they're doing it either. Like, especially if they've not ever been diagnosed with it. Like when we have moods and when we are overwhelmed, we kind of just try to take care of ourselves, right? Like we try to feel better, right? Like if I'm really tired, I might have an extra cup of coffee. So that's like at the most mild end of it, if I'm, but so if you're feeling like really, 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 really depressed, then of the level that someone experiences with bipolar disorder, you might find yourself doing a drug or something to try to pick yourself back up. Or when you're feeling really like manic and you feel like you can't calm down. Like that's like people talk about mania, like feeling good sometimes, and it does feel good sometimes, but it also can make people feel really, really irritable and just feel really cranky and
Yeah.
they want to feel calmer.
Well,
Um,
if you just, I mean, he used to say he wasn't using drugs because they were all prescribed to
mhm.
him, but he was
Oh,
using
okay.
excess amount of drugs.
Like
To the,
he wasn't identifying themselves that way.
no, he said, I'm not. These are all prescribed to me, but he
Mhm.
was using them to balance himself out. He couldn't fall asleep, so what did he do? He used excess amount of stuff, and
Yeah.
he did have diabetes, and he did have glaucoma, and he did have some health issues.
Mhm.
But I really believe that he was probably bipolar. You just look at it and go,
It's
there's
very possible.
too many
I
symptoms.
kinda I'll have to You'll have to tell me a good biography that you really like of him because I know everybody's written a million of them.
I,
I'd love to read one and, like, review it, and not
I,
diagnosing anyone, but just what it looks like.
I'd have to send you the Sunny West, probably
Is
the
that
2.5 hour one he did.
yeah.
You know, it's. But he said one of the things about him. He said he was such a humanitarian. He'd just give the shirt off his back to anybody. He never
So
forgot.
he had a good heart no matter what
Yeah.
he struggled with. I think that's true of a lot of people who struggle with things like that. Like I was very close to somebody who had very severe bipolar disorder, and when he was well, he was very different than when he was not well, you know? Um,
Back in the 70s, if you came out and said you had any mental illness, your career was done.
yeah, there's so much stigma around it. And I think there's still stigma, but it's getting better, but it was so much worse then. You're right. It was kind of like, yeah,
Oh, you
your career was
hear it.
kind of over.
No way. And if he came out and said, I'm addicted, forget it.
Mhm. People kind of
And
like yeah, it was very much swept under the rug. Like, if people went away to the rehab or inpatient facility, it was like they were treated for nervous exhaustion and things like that. Like, it was very vague how they described it.
that was. I just can't. I can't imagine, if you think about it, anybody who's a star to not be able to even walk in your local grocery store, not be able to do some of the things we take advantage of or take, for
Yeah.
granted long. He used to say, I don't go to church because if I go to church, the focus is not on the pastor, the focus is on me. And so I don't want to interrupt that. So even
Well, that doesn't
able,
feel good if you wanna go just to enjoy a sermon. You don't
you
want
know,
everyone looking at you.
going to a baseball game, going out to places. If he wanted to go see a movie, he had to rent the movie theater at night. So all of these
Mm.
things that we do, him or stars like him could not do because they were going to be, you know, the
Yeah,
price.
they're gonna be yeah. I used to think when I was a little kid, when I was little, like, I don't know, 6 or 7, I used to think, "Man, it would be so cool to be famous. You can do whatever you wanted. You can eat all the ice cream you wanted for dinner," stuff like that. But, like, as an adult, like, I know, like, actually, I really like being able to be anonymous at places. Like, I love to be able to walk into a bookstore and nobody says anything to me. I love that.
Well, you're going to have a problem with that, Kristen, as you grow this thing.
I
Because
don't think it's
people,
gonna get that big.
I,
I'm not that cool.
yes, you are. I think you are.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
not
you.
allowed to
That's very
say you're not
kind. I'm
cool.
blushing. I'm blushing.
Too many people in this chat that would 100% agree with me.
Aw, I'm gonna hide.
And Christina
Mom's
says she
telling
wants
you.
to chat. She said, "Is that Kristen from Texas?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she goes, "Oh,
I love when she says that.
chat." And
I love that.
she's like, "If Kristen ever comes and visits you, you got to tell me because I want to meet her."
You know, my mother-in-law grew up in Ohio, and I wish I could remember the name of there was one town she lived in when she was little, and then her family moved when she was 12, I think, to another town called Middleton, Ohio. I don't know where exactly that is.
Middletown.
Middletown, Ohio. Or do you know it? She lived there. She lives, here now, but
Where's Middletown? Is it down by Cincinnati?
Route 4.
But how far is it from here?
we got small world stuff. So here's what we'll have to do. I'll have to take her on a trip with us so she can go back and see her old stomping grounds, and then I can come meet you. That's what has to happen, right?
Josh says Middletown's about probably an hour and a half. It's probably nearer to Columbus than it is here, but we're about
Yeah.
Columbus.
Well, I think I wish I could remember the name of the first town she lived in because she was like a little kid there. If I think of it, I'll let you know. Okay, in Australia, Mon's sharing me information about Australia diagnosis. The 4 are diagnosed as well here, Kristen, but the saddest was an 8-year-old alcoholic. Oh my goodness. Otherwise, under the Mental Health Act, are different from the age 16 plus. I've never seen anything like that before. That is heartbreaking, but I'm sure it's possible. Like, you can get physiologically addicted or dependent to something at almost any age.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking that it occurred that young, but sometimes it's just the environment you grow up in and what you have access to. It's really wow. I've never seen that either, but I see it as possible. I did meet children who were doing lots of different illicit drugs as young as like 8 years old. It wasn't to the level where you might diagnose it as a addiction or dependence yet, but I did
They
see
all
that.
they want to all fit in. They want to be part of the
Yeah.
pool.
Sometimes. And sometimes it's at least where so at the first clinic I worked in, which was more urban, which is in the city, like sometimes it's almost cultural. Like that's just what families do. Like that's what older siblings do. Like people just smoke weed, people just do drugs. And so like, okay, that's just normal. That's just what we do. And like I think there was one kid that I met who he was on probation for selling drugs. And he didn't think anything of it because that's what his family did to earn a living. That's how he contributed to his family. That was his part-time job. And it's just like that's how they got by. That's how they put food on their table. So there's a lot to it. I think in where I grew up in the suburbs, it was people trying to be cool. But then a lot of other people I met, it was just a survival thing.
I was 5 years old, 5 or 6, somewhere around there. And a friend of mine and another friend, her father used to smoke cigarettes. And so she got her hand on some cigarettes, and we went behind her house, and I took one puff, and I was like, I gagged and coughed myself wicked.
When you were 5? 5 is pretty little, man.
And I said, I just took one puff, and I'm like, no, I'm done. And then they went around the neighborhood.
It's probably a good decision.
Find all like the butts of the cigarettes and try to smoke them. And they like, you want any? And I'm like, nope, that was it. I have no desire. I thought it tasted horrible, and I was like, no way. So that was it. That didn't last very long. But I was 5 or 6, and her dad
That's
smoked.
pretty young.
She got a hold of.
Yeah,
that was it.
I think part of it is if you see like an adult in your life doing something, like it doesn't seem that weird to you as a 5-year-old. You're like, oh, dad smokes, then I'm going to try. Like as a little kid, you don't think much of it. Oh wow, Miss Dragon, you're supposed to get them next week. Wow, that's heavy. My heart goes out to you. I know that was really, really, really tough, and it still is tough for you. That's difficult. That's lots of ones, lots of love, lots of hugs.
Kristen's putting up the ones for me.
All right. Yeah, I got to type the ones.
But that's why
I'm so behind in the chat that the ones are coming like an hour after people said the thing.
This is what happens when Kristen and I get together.
Yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It
Because I
is.
guess it's really like people are talking to each other. They don't necessarily need to hear what I have to say, you know?
They
So
don't right.
good
I
night, Lord Kiss Freak. Yeah, this is like 10. I'm like 10 minutes behind here.
like I said on the on the boat tonight, I said it's not about the people sitting in the chair. It's about the people in the chat. That's why if people come to me and say, Mary, will you turn the lighthouse on? I will turn it on. I don't need to be there. Now I can be in the chat, but I don't need to be sitting in the chair. The magic that is happening in the chat.
It is. That's very true. That's very true. But I'm still sorry if you tried to get my attention specifically and I missed you.
Yeah.
I'll never get over that.
I'm sorry too. I didn't mean to distract her. I can't see anything. Everything's blurry.
Hello. Oh,
I have bifocals, so to be able to read it, I have to be like everything else is blurry.
7 scripts. Wow. Danielle Ulrich says, "Hello, all OCD and bipolar. Had my life screwed up for years. I had a nervous breakdown on January 7th. Seemed like every doctor, shrink, and nurse had a different opinion. They had me on 7 scripts. WTF. Wow. I wish I could say that the 7 scripts surprised me,
Probably
but it
doesn't.
doesn't. That I did see a lot of people prescribed a lot of different medications at once. Um, and I wish I could say that all the doctors having a different opinion surprised me too, but it doesn't. Um, in my humble opinion, if you see several different specialists and they all have slightly different opinions, the one whose opinion that I trust the most is the one that you feel listens to you the most
Yeah.
about what you're experiencing. That's the one whose opinion I care about the most. But that's just my 2 cents. If you feel like someone just kinda glanced at you and wrote you a script and said, "Oh, yeah, you got bipolar disorder. Here, have some lithium." Um, I don't know. I would want someone who's really gonna take the time to get to know you.
It was like Christina was on Adderall, and then she had to be taken off of Adderall, and because she was getting very thin from it, and then she was put
Yeah.
on Strattera. Well, Strattera was like water, didn't do a thing,
Oh, really? It had no effect.
no effect. And her teacher came to me and said, "We've got to find something," because she couldn't focus for nothing. She was doing this, she was doing all this stuff. And the principal came to me and said, came after he went in and observed what was going on, and she was like in first grade or something like that. And he came to me and said, "You know what? I'm really sorry. I thought it was your parenting." He said, "This isn't your parenting. There's obviously something
He said
going on."
at least he said sorry to you.
He said he was
Like,
sorry, but
that's
then I guess there's a shortage. She's now. Then we moved her to Focalin, and she's been on
mhm.
that for years. And I guess there's a shortage of it, so we've had difficulty getting it. And so she didn't have it. She hasn't had it for like a week, and she's noticing difference in her focus level, and so is her husband. And so they're like, he's like, you've got to get back on it because she's just not focusing like she normally does with it. And it's like, well, we didn't throw her on any of this medicine to throw her on just for the heck of it. We threw it
Mhm.
on because it really helped. And we thought we'll be
Yeah.
the nice, we'll be the good parents, and we won't have her going on the weekends. Well,
Oh,
that
okay. Like giving her a break from it. A lot of
no,
parents do that with certain
because
things. Didn't
it,
work for her.
we spent most of the time fussing at her for things that she couldn't control. And it was a better weekend all around when she was on that medicine. And it made a difference. And she says I can focus better when I take it and when I not. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So, and if I took it, it would do the opposite of what it does for her.
Real quick. Misha, I love this. This is ending on a positive note, at least. I think Misha said she's going to bed, but by the way, y'all, I forgot to mention, I got out of the house yesterday. I drove for the first time in forever. That
Yay!
makes me so happy. I don't know if you're still here. I was 10 minutes behind on the chat, but I'm celebrating.
Isha! Yay! There's
I
five.
love that. Even amidst all of the crap, You got out of the house and you drove. That's huge. That's huge.
This
If you
is
haven't driven in a long time, it's hard.
for
Yeah,
me.
Mary's got floppy trophy for you.
Super. Here you go. I'm
Woohoo!
in a
I
screen.
love Floppy. He's so happy. The
He's
ADHD meds are sorry, I jumped back and forth. The ADHD meds are tricky because
yeah.
the stimulant ones, like they're kind of like speed. I mean, and if you're like if you have a good doctor that prescribes them well and like, everybody takes it responsibly as it prescribed, it can all go really well, but it can all also not go really well. Like
I had a
like
family member.
I'll just be totally real with you, like early college, like pre-licensure, pre-professional, anything. I abused the crap out of some Adderall. Like it was not good, but that's very common. College
I
kids do that.
had a family member who was living with us briefly, and
Mhm.
I knew the person was almost an adult, and I knew that the person could benefit from probably being on a little bit of Adderall. And
Mhm.
so I got her in with somebody, with this doctor, and they prescribed it. And I just one night going, what in the heck is happening? They were running around the house like you chicken with their head cut off. I just thought, I couldn't believe what was happening.
These were the
Now,
kids that
mind
didn't need to
you,
be on the Adderall.
the person was this skinny, probably weighed about 110 pounds. And Christina weighed a little more than that. Christina was on like 15 milligrams. This person was taking 40 milligrams of Adderall at 5 o'clock at night.
That seems like not the best time of day to be taking it.
She was supposed to take, I think, 10 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I was like, what in that? Oh, well, I said, you're not supposed, first of all, you're not supposed to take it at 5 o'clock at night. And second of all, you're not supposed to be taking 40 milligrams of it. That was her
Yeah.
misusing it the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example of misusing it.
Oh my gosh.
And what's interesting is like a lot of people will like note that so different people respond differently to medications like across the board. Like there's like
Absolutely.
generally how people respond, but like we all have different biology, right? So we're all going to process something a little different. But like
Yep.
but people say commonly like, oh, if you have ADHD, you respond totally different to a stimulant med. You look more chill, you look more calm down, you look more focused. And they
Exactly.
say people who without it kind of like bounce off the walls a little bit. Um, that's generally true, but I've also found that to not necessarily be the case always because there's also been studies done that, with Adderall and people with and without ADHD diagnoses, and at a certain dosage level, it improves focus in everybody. Like,
Yeah.
but when you get above a certain level, that's when you see the differences. Like above that difference level, like that's when you see, oh, people with ADHD respond differently than people without. But
Well,
like at a low level, it improves everybody's focus no matter what because it's just a stimulant. It's like caffeine.
Christina would just get more focused with it.
Yeah.
There was a whole different focus. She could do her work and do her schoolwork, and there was just I really hated as a mom to put her on it,
Mhm.
but I knew we had to do something because she wasn't
Yeah. You
going
have
to
to.
do anything. And they've
Yeah.
even told her when she's driving and she's not on this medicine, she has to be more alert
Mhm.
because she's not as tuned in enough. She's just kind of all over the map without it.
Oh, so it's actually harder for her to drive without it because she's
Yeah,
not focusing on the road.
she's
She's like, "Oh, look at the score."
so she has to pay more attention to the road when
Yeah.
when she's not on the medication. Otherwise, she can. That's kind of she was having trouble focusing tonight, but that's why she
Mhm.
was on my live because
Yeah.
she had focus, or she would have called her grandmother or something just to be focusing on the way home.
So is that something she does to help her focus when she's driving? Like she calls one of you to kind of help keep her grounded?
She's pretty good, but they
Yeah.
just if your medicine because at one point your medicine wears off. You
Mhm.
know, that medicine, if you take it in the morning, it's not going to be active in your body at 6, 7 o'clock at night. But that's kind of like you've seen her on Kim's, My Other's Keeper. And
Mhm.
I've said to Kim, realize when she's in her, of course, they both kind of have the same problem of interrupting. But if you watch her, she's kind of doing that. Her focus is there, but it's kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can tell. And I
kinda
got to tell people this is somebody that has ADHD or autism, and they're
mhm,
off their medication. You know, their medication is worn off by then, and so they're not as focused. I can
mhm,
tell a difference.
for sure. Yeah, because it does wear off over the day and there's, like, time release, but you do get to a certain point
Yeah,
where I mean, and then there's non-stimulant ADHD medications that they
we
work differently.
been
What was
doing that.
that?
We
That
tried
was
it
that was like water for her?
like water. And I think the person who I was talking about, the family member, I think that if they had been put on that kind of medication at a much younger age, they'd have been a lot better.
Yeah.
But see,
It's a hard decision for
yeah,
parents to make,
another
like
family member, her mom tried that medication and didn't like the way she felt, so she didn't give it to her. But
the parent tried it and didn't like how she felt on it? And so she thought, like, "If I wouldn't take this, I don't want my kid to take it."
yeah, but every medication acts differently in everybody's body. So how can you
That's
judge?
true. Like, I can kinda I mean, I can see both sides of that, like, I can see I can see the side of it of, like, "Oh, wow," like, this I can understand, like, wanting to test something before giving it to your child, but it's also hard to tell how it's going to affect them. Because 'cause you're right, especially with psychiatric medications, they do affect different people very differently.
It's like we've been on the boat and you've heard people talk about gabapentin and how it's a miracle
Mhm.
drug for
Oh,
them.
yeah. Everybody's got a different story about that one for, like, especially
For
gabapentin.
for me, I wanted to unalive myself in one pill. That's all it took was one pill.
That's bad. Like,
So,
that's not a good reaction. That's not a good story about it's not an endorsement for gabapentin, that's for sure.
but how drastic is it? To
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people it's a miracle drug, and to other people, I mean, they don't have such severe reaction as I did, but still.
I was taking
Miss
it
Sunrise,
and it was like water to me.
And for Josh, it didn't work. So I
it
mean,
just didn't do
get all
anything.
get all over the map, and it's the same thing
Miss
with us.
Sunrise Dawn, this is really common with kids with ADHD, that caffeine helps them focus a little bit more. Um, Not sure how that's going to work now that she's pregnant. Oh, she's it has to limit her caffeine intake. I mean, different OBs will give you different advice on what to do with caffeine when you're pregnant. Mine was like 1 cup of coffee a day is fine. Other people are like, get rid of it all. Um, Different doctors will tell you slightly different things there. So I couldn't quite quit caffeine altogether. I was not that strong. I was not.
If Christina, her teacher used to give her about 8 ounces worth of Mountain Dew when
Yeah,
she
that's right. I remember you telling me that.
was going into school in the morning. She'd take her pills with Mountain Dew, and it helped.
Yeah,
Made a
I
difference.
remember.
She still won't
I
drink coffee.
I have heard of some people, like, they don't necessarily wanna like, before they wanna try any kind of stimulant med with their kid, they'll give them a little bit of coffee to see how they react to that first, because that's, like, a much milder version of a stimulant, you know? And if they're bouncing off the walls with it, it's like, well, maybe Adderall is not a good idea. But
When
it's
she was going from her sippy cup, now mind you, it had the same liquid in it, to a cup, it had milk in it, and all we were doing was
Mhm,
changing the vessel from the sippy
mhm.
cup, and it was the Advent one with the little sippy thing there. We were
Oh,
changing
yeah, I think I
her
still got some of
to
those.
to a regular cup. Wouldn't
Yeah.
touch after that for nothing.
Really? Just because it was
Mm,
in a different cup?
yep. Today
Huh,
she's milk.
that's funny. Like,
Yep.
once you moved the cup, she was like, "Alright, I'm done with milk.
No,
Washing my
she
hands of
was
milk.
so mad.
How dare you change the container, mother? How dare you?"
I think he threw it. I mean, she was really upset that we changed that sippy cup full of milk to just a regular cup full of milk, and she still won't touch milk today.
Did y'all I don't know if this is a autism spectrum thing, but did you guys with her find that she struggled to, like, transition, like, sippy cups, like, bottles to sippy cups to regular, like, my kiddo, he was on bottles a lot longer than you might expect, and when we were like, "Okay, we're gonna try to change to a straw cup now, we're gonna try to transition him." The first morning that we gave him his morning milk in a sippy cup, he looked at it and he chucked it across the room. Like, "What is this? How dare you?"
I have that problem because she wouldn't take a bottle. Take a
Okay,
bottle of fire, she wouldn't take a bottle. She was
okay,
nursed for years, or not years, but she
okay.
was nursed for the first year of her life. And then she was okay with that advent with the sippy thing. But
Mhm.
the minute we took that thing and put milk in it and gave her a regular cup, nope.
That's
She would drink
funny.
liquid, but she didn't want milk. She was done. I'm done.
No more milk. It's in
Nope,
the wrong cup now, so we're done.
we're done. She
That's
hasn't
funny,
touched
she still doesn't like milk
no
to
coffee
this day.
either.
Miss
Uh,
Sunrise Dawn seems to appreciate. Yeah. Resisted putting my daughter on medication for as long as possible, then wonder why I waited so long once I saw the difference. I have a friend who is going through this right now, actually, with her 12-year-old, is that she kind of agonized over it. And on the one hand, she feels bad for putting her kid on it, but then on the other hand, she feels bad for waiting so long too. Like, oh, this could have been helping him this whole time. Um,
I don't
a lot
regret.
of parents, I think, are too hard on themselves. I think, you
I
know.
don't for nothing.
What's up?
I don't regret it for nothing. She's
Yeah.
it was on the medicine. She's on the medicine she needs to be on, and she's tried to taper off in certain aspects, and some of it's worked and some of it hasn't. But I don't regret it.
Mhm.
She
I
went on. She didn't go on. She didn't have to be on depression medicine till after my grandmother passed away, and then
mhm.
we were moving too, and our house had a mold issue, and I mean, Kristen, within 3 days, she went down like a rock. I have pictures
Oh,
of
wow.
her whole demeanor and her whole facial expression and everything changed. It was
Wow.
within days. And I called her psychiatrist right away and they got her right on medication. We didn't fool around with it because I said
Mhm.
there's something wrong. You could
Mhm.
tell
It's not
within hours
her.
she started feeling better.
Wow. So
I
you
mean,
said that you were somewhere where there was a lot of mold? Is that what you said?
yes, we had our house right before we moved in April of 19 to Ohio. So we had decided to do that. Well, they when
Mhm.
they had put in the new AC unit in our house after we had bought it a couple years prior to that, they knocked like a pipe in the wall somehow,
Mhm.
and it had been dripping into my thing for 2 years. I didn't know it.
Oh, no.
And so the cabinets, I had taken them off the cabinet doors. I had taken them off to paint them, and I never got around to painting them. So that's why we didn't notice because everything was open.
Yeah.
And then the minute I put them back on, because Christina was having a graduation and we were doing everything, and I thought I'll put them on. I started noticing stuff, and I'm like, and then of course everything started collapsing because the water was dripping into the
'Cause
cabinet.
everything was like yeah, like waterlogged and
The
rotten.
the air conditioning backed up against the closet, and that all was hooked to then the bathroom and the sink, and then the shower went in there, and we had redone our shower and
Mhm.
everything, so all of that was curtied and waterproof, and I mean it was done very very well. But that whole thing happened, and what happened is I stayed in the house and I shouldn't have, and
Mhm.
they
'Cause
opened
you're
that
breathing
up.
that.
And what we didn't realize is that it had got up in the actual AC vents.
So it was circulating
It was
through your
circuit.
house.
Yep, the AC,
Oh my gosh.
all the AC vents. And so the minute they opened it, they opened everything. I actually winded up in the hospital.
Oh my
Thermal
gosh.
and they had to admit me for like 4 days because wasn't breathing.
For 4 days?
I was in the hospital trying to get my breathing right. I thought, my Lord have mercy. That was
That's
horrendous.
terrifying.
The last 6 months of when we were going to stay there before moving, we had to live at my mother's house on air beds because we
'Cause
couldn't
you have
live
to
in
be
that.
somewhere with clean air.
Yeah. And there was, by the time we got back in our house, this happened like in, July. We didn't get back into like October or November. And we were going to move and put the house on the market. Why bother in like 3 months? Why bother trying to move back in? Our beds had to be thrown away. Any soft furniture all had to be destroyed because it all had black mold on it.
That sounds like a nightmare. You have to replace so much stuff, and
We had to
you're
go through
recovering
insurance.
physically.
Horrible. It was a nightmare.
Wow. I know you said that she had, like, depression symptoms around that time too, right?
Yep, because we couldn't go back and live at our house for the last little bit. We all had to,
Some people
couldn't get in.
have yeah. Some people have talked about mold and, like, exposure to it having an effect on their mental and emotional health too, and their mood as well. Um, and then, like, it gets better when you get out of it. So I was just curious about that. I know you said it seemed like she had this really sudden change. I know you had a lot going on in your lives too besides that,
I,
but
I
that's
think
kinda
it was
why
the death of the fact we were moving, the whole mold thing, and everything all combined together. But
yeah.
and thankfully, we lived in an association, so they were responsible for all the ductwork. But they had to
Oh, okay.
literally, all of the ductwork in the attic had to be torn down and new stuff had to be put in. Because
Jeez.
the minute they opened that, they spread it like freaking wildfire, and the whole closet
Wow.
torn out, and oh, it was a mess. I just thought it was my cabinet, not realizing
But it
it
was
actually
actually, like, in the
in
walls.
the walls, and it was horrific.
That's wow. That's scary. That's
And we're
wow.
talking old. We're not just talking regular. Like they
Yeah,
tested
that can
my
I'm pretty
husband.
sure that can mess um with your neurology, like with your brain a little bit, like exposure to that kind of mold. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not a mold expert.
Like they tested his chair, which was a really nice lazy boy chair that my uncle had,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
there
those are
was
really nice and expensive.
and little patch of that had so much black mold you couldn't even believe it.
Wow, that's scary. Okay, now yeah, it can cause neurological effects.
Yeah.
Headaches, migraines, cognitive impairments, memory loss, confusion, impaired motor skills, depression, and other behavior changes.
Yeah.
Wow. So that probably didn't help. That probably didn't help at all.
No.
Dang.
But
Dang. And you know what?
if you've got somebody exhibiting any signs of depression or anything like that, don't fool around with it.
Yeah. Go talk to someone, look at
Yeah.
your environment. I think the environment is important too, though.
Yeah.
Like going to talk to a doctor, going to talk to a psychiatrist, super duper important. Like I don't want to downplay that at all.
No.
But like, and here, here we are probably at the end of I'll go into this in more detail some
Yeah.
other time. But like when I was 13 is when I first started having like symptoms of depression. And the first person I saw was my primary care doctor. And he was like, "Yep, she's depressed. Here's some Zoloft, here's some medication." And then we next went to a psychiatrist who was like, "Yep, here, have some more medication." And it took a long time to actually get to where I was talking to anybody about my life and what was stressing me out. And I think for a lot of people, medication is a godsend and it is kind of the answer and it can be part of the answer. But like for me as a 13-year-old, like I had a lot of stuff going on. I had a lot of stressors. I had a lot of, like life changes. Like I needed someone to talk me through that stuff. Like, really, I think that would have helped me more than any medication anyone prescribed me, but that was me. I
Yeah.
wasn't, in the middle of black mold and all this, like, I didn't have
Well,
like,
well,
and I did later need medication, but at that time, I could have really used someone to talk me through
well,
things, you know?
mind you, she had a psychiatrist on hand. That was the first person I called, and I said something's not right. And I sent him
Yeah,
pictures.
you guys already had someone you
I already
trusted, that's
had
different.
something, let's just try a little bit. And he knew what was going on. He said, I think we should just do a little bit. And she said within hours of taking it, she noticed a little bit of a difference. And
That's
so,
totally like,
you
that's
know,
something. That's, like, almost
so,
unheard of.
and I'm not, she said, I just tell a little bit. It just was slowly, where it was like she was coming back. And she's had a lot of life changes. We've moved since, in 2022 again. She's gotten married, she moved there, she's moved
Mhm.
again. And so even the doctors now are sitting there going, we're not going to mess with that depression medicine yet. She may at one point
Right.
want to start trying to reduce it, but they don't want to mess with it yet because she's gone through too many changes
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
don't. Like, if and mind you, if you're getting off depression medicine, you need to do it slowly, not just be yanked off.
Yeah, yeah. Your
You
doctor
know,
should be tapering you off of
yeah.
that,
So they said,
not yeah.
we're gonna do it. When you're not going through all these changes you've gone through in the past 2 years almost.
Yeah, probably when you have major life changes, it's probably the worst time to start coming off of a medication you've been on for a long time because 'cause you're already destabilized by all the changes, you know?
And if down the road when she becomes pregnant one day, then they'll have to go through all her medicines and change them up and
Yeah,
make those adjustments then. But she's under the right care, and
yeah.
listen, I fought for that kid every step of the way.
I know you did.
Ev-
You're my hero, like, yeah,
And I
like,
encourage you to do the
yeah.
same thing.
We have to advocate for our kids, you know? Like,
Well, on my channel, we're going to have a discussion with Christina and her two former, both family friends. One was her maid of honor, behavioral therapists that have been willing to come on and talk, which I think is really good because I don't
that's
think
really
people
cool.
realize how important behavioral therapy is outside the home, but as well as inside. Because that's where it
Yeah,
made is when we brought the therapist in to Christina's environment. That's when it was like, now I'm not losing it. you
in
know,
her comfort
'Cause I'm
zone,
like, I
yeah.
go, oh, she's perfectly fine. I'm like, you don't see her at home, do you?
Oh, yeah,
That,
she behaves perfectly in this office with this
yes,
perfect environment and these perfect toys.
yes.
Very different.
But then bringing them in to help us with things that were happening at home was a difference.
Mhm.
So we're going to have a discussion about, we're going to
That's
bring
awesome.
and have them in.
That's exciting.
So
And is that scheduled? Do I have a link I should
not
share, or y'all still
coordinate.
figuring out the schedule of it?
I'm pretty flexible on my schedule, but we have to
Yeah,
coordinate 3 other schedules.
with the other people. You can
Yeah.
get it done whenever, like, you're on top of it, but it's all
Yeah.
those pesky other people. Or people like Kristen who wait until the last minute to do their shopping, and they're like, "Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry, I can't come on your live, I have to grocery shop."
I did film how I made the egg pie, which I'm going to turn into a video. So I'll put
Oh, yeah, I wanna see that.
because it's a really easy recipe that I thought I'll post on there and let people know what egg pie is.
I am curious about what egg pie is. Like, I like eggs and I like pie, so this sounds like it could be a good thing.
It's just it's just breakfast sausage and cheese and egg. But the thing is, it has to sit overnight, and then you take it out of
Oh,
the
okay.
put it in the oven the next day. Like we'll come home from church tomorrow, and in will go the egg pie. Well, we're all getting ready, and then we'll sit and
Gotcha.
have it, and then we'll have filet mignons for dinner. They were a special at Sam's Club.
Ooh, I'm
Four
jealous.
four filet mignons
I'm
for like
jealous.
$35. I said, I'm grabbing these.
What?
Yes, they were
What?
specials.
I want filet mignon.
They just had a pile.
They did what? They had a pile?
I said,
A
no, you have to
pile?
just come. Ohio.
Oh, to Ohio. I thought you meant like they had a pile of filet mignons, and I was like,
No, there were
what?
4 flat
A
ones for like
pile?
$35. Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yes. Well, I grabbed them.
Yay, Mon's back. Mon's back. We can't get rid of her
And of
yet.
course,
I'm so
Kristen's about
happy.
20 minutes now behind in the chat. I don't
What's that?
think
Yeah,
she's.
now I'm 20 minutes behind. No. I'm caught up now. Our
Oh,
chat,
you
like
are?
people dwindled. Like
Okay.
people left, so I can keep up now. We're down to 5 people, so I can keep up. See,
Sorry.
I'm not meant to be a larger YouTuber because I can't keep up.
I derailed you. Well, see, when you
I'm
when
the
you
small group YouTuber.
do a larger YouTube, that's where you have a friend like me sit there and say, "I'll be in the back studio helping to field the
Clicking,
comments."
clicking starring things.
You're gonna need that, girl.
You guys know yesterday my ex-boyfriend was here, right? Isn't that weird?
No.
I'll tell you about it more offline.
Okay.
It's not that bad. It's not that weird.
Well, just so you know, whatever Kristen tells me off of the YouTube street stays right here.
No, it's not that weird.
Good.
It's like someone I've known for 20 years. So it's like, you get back in touch sometime and be like, "Oh, how are you? I'm good. How are you? You have kids, I have kids, We're boring humans now with boring jobs. You want to come see my live stream?" That's how that went down.
I think he went in Chow's discussion.
Oh yeah, he did. No, I
Yeah.
think he was nice there, right? He wasn't a jerk.
Yeah. I was
If
waiting
he's
for
watching the replay, hey. I try to maintain positive relationships with people, if at
do
all
a good.
possible.
You do
I'm
a
not
good.
a I'm not habitually a bridge burner, Like usually there's like a period of time where you kind of have to not talk so much because otherwise then you might forget why you broke up, but um I don't know. I like to be kind. I like to honor the friendship part of things as much as possible. So,
You do a good job, and you've come a
thank
long
you.
way since you and I've said we're not good with this friend thing. So why don't we try to do it together? And I think
Yeah.
we've helped each other do this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you've helped me a lot.
You've
And
come.
like just like knowing when to that I can do things like, oh, I'm having a bad day or I'm having a rough moment, I can actually like call someone and talk to them.
Yep.
That's even possible because I used to not default to that. Oh no,
Yep.
I shouldn't have said anything. So next time is like, oh, that was your ex. That's interesting. Guys, we broke up in 2012. So this is not recent at all. 2013? No, early 2013.
That day
I'm glad she said that.
the day when
What's
I
that?
said to you, the day that I told you you weren't acting like yourself, and then you were like, no, I know I'm not, and I could
You're right.
tell.
Yeah. That meant a lot and it helped a lot too.
Yeah. Or the
And
other day, like,
sometimes
are you
sometimes
okay?
I don't feel like I am always the best friend back because I don't I'm very awkward about I feel very awkward about the way I offer support. I'm kind of like, "Hey, you okay?" Thinking of
You the other
you.
day, you're like, are you okay? Because you knew my head was just not in a good place.
Yeah. Well, you told me you were feeling crummy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. He told Cricket, "If I misbehave, blame Kristen." She said, "No, if you misbehave, I'm gonna blame you." I applaud Cricket for that. I think I had fallen asleep by that point. So,
She
uh,
obviously wasn't around when when she was laughing about the meat I sent her.
yeah, I usually fall asleep at some point during Cricket's live just because of the timing of it here. And like
No.
actually I'm surprised I haven't gotten a notification from her yet. Like I'm putting off winding down until her notification goes up.
Go
But
check. 'Cause
I don't
sometimes
know.
the notification
Yeah,
doesn't. Sometimes you
maybe
have to
my
go to.
notifications. Because I'm having fun. Like I'll probably hang out until you fall asleep or I fall asleep or everybody leaves, and then I'll be here talking to myself.
I do have to get going soon because I do have to get up because my daughter
Okay.
will see me at church at Mother's Day tomorrow.
Okay.
But Yeah, my migraine would have been okay if the stomach hadn't decided to go in and play along with the play. It
Mm, I'm
was like,
sorry.
I have one or the other, please, not both.
Hmm.
She
How are
could
you
be.
feeling now?
Uh, so far, so good. Let's just keep. I don't want
Her
it to come
camera
back.
might still
Fingers
be out.
crossed. Wait,
She could be
who is
having still frozen issues.
wait, what app? Oh, I'm trying to find. Here we go. The emotional when I feel awkward about offering support, I'll send you. The emotional support pickle. I will always be around to let you know that you are a big deal.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not making anybody an emotional support pickle.
What's that? A crochet
I'm
pickle?
not crocheting anybody an emotional support pickle.
Like Pickle Rick.
My
Only an
husband
emotional
said maybe
support
your
pickle.
camera is still acting in frozen mode.
Mine is?
No,
Am I
hers.
frozen? Oh,
No,
hers.
I'm
Oh, maybe that's why she's not on yet. I probably shouldn't have said anything about how I know him because now people could go ask him terrible secrets.
I
I've
think
probably
he's
already told them to
fine.
some of y'all. I think the most terrible secrets I've already told to a lot of y'all, so I don't know if there's much you could say. And I don't think he'd do that. I don't think he'd do that. So
You're
we're
fine.
good. Let me think. Is there anything else? Like, I don't think I wonder if other people have had that happen, like when it was a surprise. Like that was not a surprise to me. Like we had been corresponding and I was like, "Hey, I'm going live if you want to come hang out." So it was not a surprise, but I wonder if anyone's ever had it happen that they were going live and like someone that like they had an ex pop on that they didn't expect and go, "Oh, this is so and so." That would be different. That would be awkward.
I hope to goodness gracious mine never does.
No. I mean, theoretically, it could happen. YouTube is like, it's
Yes,
out
they
in the world, you know?
just wish that it doesn't ever happen.
Or that they have the decency not to identify themselves, you know? Just like, just don't say anything.
They probably wouldn't, but we're not going to go there. If anybody wants
Yeah,
to listen to that story, they can go to My Other's Keeper and understand why I hope to goodness gracious it never happens.
that's a heavier topic. Well,
Yes.
relationships are, that's not a silly Saturday topic. That's a
Well,
serious Sunday topic.
this has been silly and not silly and silly and not silly and silly and silly.
Yeah. You know, I'm feeling a theme, like, when I go live, that kind of is a theme, is that it's silly and then it's not, and then it's silly again, and then it's not, and I mean, I'm okay with that if the people here are okay with that, you know, I am a firm believer that you've gotta balance your serious with your silly and your sweet with your salty, how else do you live, right?
And you're spicy with something.
You're right. I haven't eaten anything spicy tonight because Lord Kiss Freak went to bed.
Don't.
Oh, I didn't
Don't.
see this either. I kinda want to,
Don't
but it's
push
so, like the people that would appreciate seeing it are not here, so I'll just do it by myself later when I'm off camera. With my oldest daughter, I got so lucky that the first child psychologist we went to was amazing. That is awesome. That's the dream. That's the
We
dream.
for the most part we had good ones with Christina.
That's good.
I was
That's
thankful.
the dream.
The other ones it didn't make any sense.
Mm. Well, I'm thinking of wrapping it up since everybody's getting sleepy, but I also don't want to. This is my biggest problem. Like, at the end, I'm like, "There's still 6 people in here. I don't wanna go anywhere." What if those 6 people need something to listen to?
Go watch Chow and go watch your replay, or go watch Mary and watch the replay, or go watch Kristen and give her the watch hour. See, there's so many things you could do.
It's true. I think there's gotta be other people live right now.
Oh, there's a
That's
lot.
what I look for now. You know, it's funny, like, before the lifeboat and then before all the people that go live, I never really, like, hooked into that. I never paid too much attention to, like, who was live streaming. I was just like, "Oh, that's a YouTube video, whatever." And like you were saying earlier, like, I think it was on the boat you were saying that? Or it was on your channel? You were saying, "Now I notice that, like, and I wanna go
Oh, now
interact with
look
people who are going live."
because I
Sorry?
want to. I'm looking for live content because I want to connect with other people. I want to be
Yeah.
able to collaborate with other people. So I'm looking at it because I'm really enjoying the live content. Like when I got off my live, believe it or not, Lydia that comes in my chat
Mhm.
has a channel and she was on. So I hopped into her live real quick just to say hello.
That's so cool.
So, and then do you remember there's another lady, Lane, Hot Damn. Do you know her? Remember her?
Yeah, I recognize her
Yes.
name, yeah.
She was
Her
on with
handle.
me, so I got to meet her.
That's really cool. It
So
feels like you see the names in the chat and then like, oh, and then you get to meet like, with their face and everything. It's like
yeah.
it adds dimension to a
Yeah.
person.
And that's why I tried to do the chat where I let people come on.
I like
It
that.
wouldn't happen today.
What happened? Mom says, I've made the slice, so I'll send to Mary and she'll be able to do something 2 ounces. I'm confused. I've made the slice. Of pizza? Did I miss something? Is this
She'll
because
tell
I was behind in the chat?
she'll tell me later. We'll figure out what she means.
Okay. Okay. Is this because
And
it's
I'm gonna
late?
tell you.
It's just because it's late.
It's late. We're all getting goofy.
Oh, I have one more. This could also be show and tell Saturday because I have one more really weird show and tell item, and then I swear I'm gonna shut it down. It's my weird show and tell item, and for whoever's still here, if you stayed here this long, it's your reward. So my granddad used to fish, and he caught a really big fish once, like you do. It was his legendary fish that he was so proud of, and he once they cooked it up and scaled it and skinned it and all that stuff and it was gone, he kept the skull, like, that dried out with all of the your face, your expression. Like, so that all the gunk dried off of it until it was just a fish skull, and he kept it, and he kept it in his closet with, like, his, his sweaters and all that stuff, and when he passed away, my grandmother was cleaning out his closet and, like, deciding, like, she wanted to keep some items, she wanted to donate some other stuff. She came across this fish skull. And she was like, "Oh, this thing. I always tried to get him to get rid of this and he wouldn't get rid of it." And I said, "Whoa, that thing's cool." I think I was like, I don't know. I was in college, but like younger, uh, maybe like 19 or something. I said, "That's really cool." And he's like, "Do you?" And she was like, "Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want that." And so it's lived in my garage and like moved with me from dorm rooms to apartments to finally my home now. And he doesn't have a name, but this is him. This is the fish skull. This is my show and tell Saturday.
Where's Anthony?
Oh, that's right. We need Anthony here. He would know what kind of fish it was, probably.
Next time you need to keep it close. So the next time he's in the chat, you can show it.
Okay, I'll keep it at the desk. So next time Anthony stops by, I can show him. But I don't have a name for this fish. I need to name it.
You can't use
if my grandfather named it. Sorry?
You can't use floppy.
Oh no. Well, that is not floppy at all because it's a skull,
Yeah.
so it's like dry. It's not floppy at all. But if you stayed this long, you've been rewarded.
It'll
with
be your
fish. My mascot.
Be...
The fish skull. Some people might prefer the tiny potato. Like, okay, so if this just creeped you out, people who have remained, allow me to cleanse your palate with positive potato. He's a little cuter. In case fish skull creeped you out.
I don't know what. We'll have to come up with a name.
With the name for the fish. Yeah. I'll put a community poll. So all right. I think I really am gonna wrap it up. I think I'm not lying this time. Yeah, we're getting goofy. I think I really am gonna wrap it up, you guys. Once I show fish skulls on a live stream, it's time to go. Who's still here? I want to say hi to who stuck it out with me this long.
Stuck around for all this silliness.
Mary, I want to give you credit. You stuck it out with me the whole time. The whole time. Not everybody can do that. I'm impressed. because I start showing fish skulls and I get weird. Miss Sunrise Dawn hung out.
Yeah. I hope we
Hey,
made you all
Carrie
laugh.
Ann. Hey, Carrie
When
Ann
I
hung out.
Whenever I cry, I laugh. Whenever I laugh,
That's
I cry.
awesome.
Ugh,
Mon hung out. Mon went, back and forth to the store and stuff like
yeah.
that. I don't think that there's a way I can I think that if you're here but you're lurking, I think I can't see you. I think you're anonymous, but that's okay. You can be anonymous if you'd like. I love lurkers. They're, you can lurk or you can talk or you can fall asleep to us talking
Yeah.
about dead fish skulls. That's cool too. Somebody told me that was it you that told me that the other day that like my voice was soothing and so you fell asleep and I was
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
What was it? No, it was the night that I had to go on to my other keeper, and the day we
Mhm.
went to the thing with the Mother's Day with Christina. Then we went to Sam's Club, and then I just sat down, and Kim was like, "Can you come on my live because my other thing fell apart,
Mm,
and I need you to come on." So then I
that's
was
right.
on, and I was like, by the time I got to your, because I was just about ready to go to sleep, and by the time I got to your live, all I could do was say, "I'm here and I'm listening." That was it. I was gone.
Oh
I thought,
man.
so at least I'll keep you on and get the watch hours for you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I
You're welcome.
had your channel just like playing like all day the other day while I was working.
I
I want
think
you
I
to get
have
your
like
watch hours.
780 or something like that.
What do you have to get to for like what
3,000.
is your goal?
3,000
You'll
already
get there.
first level.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
I got the 564 or something like that, 61 or something.
I don't really have a strategy. I just keep posting things.
You're doing fine. You're
I
doing
just keep doing things.
Yep. You're doing
I'm
just
not necessarily like some people make really fancy videos with like really good editing and like they look really cool and stuff. I'm just like, huh, I'll just post this thing from the car. People will have something, you know? Like,
I give Mocha some credit for the reason I'm at 564.
oh, Mocha's
One of her
adorable.
videos got 10,000 views on a short, so I give some of the credit to that dog.
That's something. That's
I got like
something.
100 subscribers just from watching somebody putting that one short
People
up.
love
Dog.
animals.
Yeah.
People love animals. And I didn't realize it, but more people than I would have expected love like when you go live just like walking around somewhere. Like I
Yeah.
didn't realize people were so interested in that. Like I
Yeah.
did one of just like walking my dog and I was like I didn't think people would find that interesting, but I guess if you don't do it every day, maybe it is. So,
Yeah.
all right. Really, really wrapping it up now. Danielle hung out. Thank you,
Minnesota,
Danielle.
no, we're not in Minnesota.
Oh, Cricket says she's fine and going live in a minute. See, we were hanging out for her because we gotta do a raid with the remaining
Yeah.
5 people we have. Look,
Yes.
we lost somebody. Someone fell asleep.
I-
Someone's phone died.
Hopefully, Cricket's camera gets stuck, but if it does, I will
You
come
know,
up.
if I could, like, if I didn't have like, a tiny human to care for and like responsibilities and things like that, I think it would be really fun to do a 24-hour live stream and just be ridiculous and just like laugh about who was still here and like who fell asleep. I think that would be I think that would be fun. I
I
think
would
that would
join
be a blast.
some, but not for all.
You could join me for part of it.
Yeah, part of
I
it.
don't know. Like
Oh,
I could set this up. Like I would literally do this for one person. Like I think it would be fun
yeah.
as heck. Like I'm amused. I'm fully entertained. Hey, Jazzy Girl Sarah. That brought some hey, I don't think I've seen you comment yet, but that got your attention. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would have to arrange it though. Because I'd need to make sure other people could either be in charge of my little guy or find a way to like because he would be running in and out. So I'd have to like find a way to obscure his face while live or something because he's not old enough to consent to that because he's only 5. So hey, Jazzy Girl Sarah, thanks for saying that. We were actually just about to
Wrap it up.
hop off, but
Yes.
I definitely won't be doing 24-hour live stream this week because my husband is actually going out of town tomorrow, and
I'll pray for you.
not during the day. Like he's not leaving
Oh,
until the evening. tomorrow, and like he'll be back Tuesday. So it's just me fielding little guy and work, and he has school, but um so if my texts are a little bit shorter, that's why. But
I
I'll be really lonely. I'll be lonely and bored after my little guy goes to bed. So I'll probably just be on here.
I and if you haven't subscribed to Kristen's channel, subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed to
Oh
mine,
yeah. Yeah, if
subscribe.
you're here, if you're still hanging out, if you hung out this long, may as well hit the subscribe button. I mean, you saw a fish head.
Less to crochet. And you don't have to
Yes,
crochet
and
part of my channel. You just
no,
have
you
to
do
be.
not. I do not crochet. I just appreciate the community.
Yep, that's all I want to build. You want to learn how to crochet? I'll send you to places that can teach you, but not this girl. Mm-mm. No desire.
One of these days I'll learn. One of these days I'll learn. One of these days I'll learn all the
Yeah,
things.
probably when your son's about 25.
Probably when he wants nothing to do with me, when he's busy. Yeah, go check out Mary's channel, Blessed to Crochet. We're all gonna hop
Yes,
over.
yes.
I
Because
think
I do
everybody
have,
that's here is probably everybody that's here has the lifeboat, because I think that's where everyone here came from. But just in case you are one of the replay people, go to the lifeboat. It is the best of the lifeboats of the I don't know. No more
I think it's
vocabulary. The
like
vocabulary is gone.
that it's time to leave.
Yep, that means it's time.
It's time.
And
Time
this
for
is where we're
go live.
going. What's that?
It's time for Cricket to go live.
Oh, that's okay, Jazzy Girl Sarah. We'll be back. We'll do it again.
Yep.
It's not the end.
No,
We are
Kristen,
going over to see.
that we will be on each other's channels on and off.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tonight I was
Oh.
just like, I don't know if I can talk to myself the whole time. I'll see if Mary wants to come on.
I got your back.
I got your back too.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, we are going over to Chow Yun Smut's channel. So if you're still awake, see y'all there. Thanks,
Thanks.
Mary.
Bye.
Bye.